That was our good friend of the podcast, Mr. Colin Gow, with his song podcast, which is our theme song, officially licensed theme song. I am Steve Schoen.
Officially licensed?
Officially licensed. If you would listen to the podcast, you would know this story. I am Steve Schoen, the city manager for the city of Upper Arlington. I am joined by my co-host and sidekick.
This is Darren Schulman. I'm the city attorney.
I can't take you guys seriously.
We already are losing our guest, and we haven't even introduced her yet.
So it's a bad thing when one of your city council members says, I can't take you seriously, to the city attorney and to the city manager. But, that's just us. We're
accessible.
Accessible.
I'm turning it positive.
That is a beautiful. We try to be accessible. We have with us today the wonderful, the one and only Michaela Burriss. Councilmember Burriss, how are you?
I'm having a great time.
You're having. That's good. That's what we like.
Why does yours? Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
have
gotta
to be
get close to
closer.
So
okay.
You got to lean into it, and then
You're very NPR over there.
So
that's what I was
our
missing.
last guest was the general manager for Sunny 95 and their group of stations. And so if you think I'm bad this week, you should have seen me last week when I was really trying to go with the whole radio voice thing and try to go a little smooth jazz on them. And
whereas Brian and I literally just pitched a show.
And yeah, they pitched taking over the 4 a.m. slot. So it was pretty shameless. Although if you had listened, you would know
Listen, everyone knows I don't listen to the podcast.
We know because you tell us at every opportunity
that you don't listen.
I'm sure it's lovely.
But they did suggest that Darren, to help us promote it, live on a billboard, like physically live on a billboard for a month. So that was
we're working on it.
Our guest. So we're trying to figure that out.
I do have to give you some credit, though. Although you steadfastly refused to listen, you have actually somehow booked us 2 guests.
Yeah.
So although you're not a friend of the show, I think she is responsible
Not a friend.
for 2 of our 20
No, she is,
guests.
and one of whom...
And the budget that paid for all of this equipment.
Well, I mean, there's that, too.
Yeah.
The 3 microphones, 4 headsets, and a couple of connectors.
A luxury. Questionable decision making.
Now, Dublin...
They got like a whole studio.
Has a studio...
That's
and
a hard pass.
They hire out a
Hard
consultant to do the thing for them. We're roll up our sleeves kind of guys around here.
Yeah, they're
accessible.
Accessible.
They are our nemesis that doesn't know it. Like
Nemesis.
they don't listen, so they don't know that we talk about it every 6 episodes.
But if they listen to the pod, they'll know now.
they will know.
They will know. So we start every pod
Okay.
with what we call start, bench, cut.
Say it again.
Start, bench, cut.
Like sports.
Like
Yes.
sports. There you go.
So we're gonna give you 3 things. One of
Okay.
them you start. That's the one you like the most.
Okay.
One of
That's
them
the
you're
one, that's the one you want like front and center. That's your go-to. That's your ride or die. Right.
Okay.
The second one is on the bench, so they're valuable.
I mean, I can figure.
And then
I
cut.
was a college athlete.
Well,
I
know,
can
you were a
figure it
swimmer.
out.
I mean,
Whoa.
He didn't
it's
mean
not
it
a
that
team
way.
sport.
Foul. No, but it is a life skill, not a sport. How dare you?
I didn't say that. This is
Wow.
all Steve. I was just saying the way you said that's a sports reference.
This
that
is
you were
not how you
disdainful.
gain friends to the pod.
No, Steve. Lake Building score down.
little controversy that just trying to spice things up a little.
I can reel it back in because I have a very special start.
Darren, you're
Go
you're
for it.
usually.
Oh, and he's
I'm
breaking
knocking
my-
over my microphone.
I'm usually the one who says bad things. So.
You are usually the one who says bad things. I'm all flustered.
So you did give us some pre-production notes today. and
Pre-production notes.
So, I have a starch bench cut that I think you will enjoy.
Oh, okay.
So here's the 3.
Okay.
It's Lord of the Rings based.
Hell yeah.
And I would say it's Hobbit based, but one's arguably. So here's your 3.
Okay.
Frodo, Bilbo, Smeagol. Now Smeagol technically was
Wait,
a river.
I have to pick?
Yes.
You got to pick which
Okay.
one's start, which one's bench, and which one's
Say
cut.
them again one more time.
Frodo, Bilbo, Smeagol, also known as Gollum.
But is it Gollum or is it Smeagol?
Oh, I want to cut
mean-
Frodo.
You're gonna cut Frodo?
You can't. There's no right answer.
That's why we do
There's
it.
no
We want to
right
make you
answer.
sweat a little bit, yeah. And you could have Gollum or Smeagol, whichever way. He's together. He's
I
the
know
same guy.
he's together.
Well, Steve
Darren.
asked which one it was. Like he's the same guy.
You had to
What I'm saying is it? Do you do the totality or do you do the 2 personalities? Do you make it?
Yeah, I think it's when he's talking to
I mean,
himself.
it's one team, one dream in that brain. it's one.
So yeah, you have to answer this question, even though it's
Smeagol
like,
is definitely your starter.
yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right.
Th-
We get it.
Then who did you cut?
Frodo.
He's gone.
He's just, yeah. And I obviously,
Oh, sorry.
that leaves Bilbo on the bench.
It's an interesting call because Bilbo was kind of a jerk when he was in the Lord of the Rings movies because he had already kind of got old and corrupted. I told Steve I'd nerd out with you a little bit to make up for some of the other stuff.
So the snoring is that when Darren goes really deep, nerdy on stuff, I just kind of
You just
I
become
I
very
doze.
judgmental.
I doze a little bit. I just doze.
I'm just going to say I applaud
Nerd-
you on your choice.
Nerd is
Column, number one.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to articulate, but Frodo just gets so melancholy and boring toward the end. And like,
I mean, you could argue he wasn't even the hero at the
he
end.
really
It
wasn't.
was Sean Astin.
Yes, it was. Do you know I met Sean in Upper Arlington?
What?
Yeah, so he did in 2016, he's very politically active. He did a phone bank launch for a presidential candidate in Upper Arlington.
It's so random. He's like,
So
nope.
I got to
so
meet
could you get him on the podcast?
Yeah, do you have his number?
Listen, not possible.
You know
I'm
what?
sure.
She has done a better job of booking guests for us
Then
than you have.
my wife gave me grief about that the other day too.
You know, so Darren, we're on. You're going to be episode 22.
Okay.
So you have booked almost 10% of our guests.
You're welcome. I'm very
Yeah,
friendly.
Thank you. You know how many Darren's booked?
I'm guessing less than 2.
0.
0. Darren.
I was working on the Sean Astin thing, but you apparently don't want to help with that.
I want a podcast of Parker and Zasha.
Oh, that would be fun. Although Parker now is learning.
Parker made a cameo one time.
Yeah, did she come in?
Yeah, it was one of the early ones. She was sick or something.
Oh yeah, I had her with me. Yeah. Parker now is learning to sing classic rap songs lyrics.
Get out. What's
Yeah.
an example?
The new one is "Make 'Em Say by Master P.
The key thing. Could you say that title again? I just want to hear you
Make
say
'Em say That's what she can say. And then she
because
goes,
it's
"Na, na, na, na."
Parker, so Master P.
I know. I immediately pictured Parker saying it.
Yeah, that's her name.
That's amazing.
Speaking of music,
Oh.
we have to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Transition.
So you're gonna make me do this? I was mean.
I'll do
to
it.
her
You already
earlier.
know I can build scores down. You're with Michelle. Your chosen music of choice was popular EDM.
Yeah.
We admitted we don't really know what EDM
Nobody
is.
does.
And then we looked
Unless you're into it.
we did Google for like popular EDM and it came
And did
up
you
with-
listen to it?
Well, it came up as like does not exist.
It came up as oxymoron.
I don't think I ever put the word popular
No,
in it. I think that's
we went on Spotify and we looked up. We tried to search EDM hits and it
Didn't work. So
Bless your heart.
it crashed
we are
the whole
exposing
site.
our lack of touch with today's
So
modern
teach
culture.
us about EDM.
But don't sing it. 'Cause I
Don't
think
sing
words
it,
Like
'cause
that.
I don't
There's
think-
nothing to sing.
It's like
I mean, I just think
I
of
mean,
Night
you
at the
get it.
Roxbury, right?
No, that's house music.
Okay, what's the difference between house and EDM?
Meanwhile, Brian and I are doing the Bob thing.
Well,
People come to this podcast for education, so
I mean, with house music, it's more like a pleasant tempo, but it's pretty even. EDM's gonna have like a build up and a drop at some point
who are some popular EDM people that you enjoy?
that I enjoy.
Yeah, drop some knowledge on me.
So, I mean, my favorite concerts that Patrick and I have gone to, we went to Steve Aoki in Vegas.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Amazing. We, for New Year's, we spent when my sister was living in New York at the time, she got us tickets to an abandoned warehouse in the Bronx. Or was it Brooklyn? I think it was
Did
Brooklyn.
they have foam
Sorry.
too?
They did have foam.
And glow
It was-
sticks?
Yes, and trapeze artists and people hanging from the ceiling. It was incredible.
Who was playing there?
Dada life.
Wait, what?
Dada life.
That's what Parker calls me.
Oh,
That's not clearly
dad
not.
jokes?
Yeah, there you
Dad
go.
jokes.
Does she have her own?
She's got her EDM
Did,
track.
have you got like
I don't know. They don't
turntables
scratch,
and a mix
yeah,
machine
they don't
and all
scratch
that?
things,
No,
do
they don't turn.
No.
Sorry.
No.
So I have to ask you a question about a Steve Aoki concert.
Okay.
I'm assuming his music is just more music, not singing, right?
Yeah.
So what is he doing at the concert other than pressing play on his like iPod Or I'm sorry, his MP3
I would
player.
say there's a lot of flashy lights.
But he's not like doing anything, right? He's just like...
No, he's like bopping around back there having a good old time.
Is he like mixing new tracks live, or is he just kind of emceeing in the traditional master of ceremony sense rather than
I mean, I would
on the ones and twos?
imagine... Oh, wow.
You could tell we're totally cool and hip.
You are so cool. So, I mean, have you ever been to anything with a DJ? Like
Yes,
a wedding?
I've been to things with a DJ.
Okay. So, it's not that different. It's just predominantly their own music, and sometimes they'll remix other popular songs. Like he has a remix to the Celine Dion song from Titanic, Blew Our Minds. A remix to, what is it? My Chemical Romance, Black Parade.
I could get
That's
behind some
really
cool
good.
remixes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I am not getting paid for this.
Yeah, Steve Aoki's like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, here's your check. The listenership of the podcast is helping him drive sales. I'm sure he doesn't need our money. I think he's very popular.
So I think your dad is now going to go out and search up EDM and it's
Gary
gonna go,
Schulman is listening to Steve
What's
Aoki.
Gary's story?
Gary listening
If
to
you'd listened to the podcast, you would have heard we
Not
brought
EDM.
Gary on for a very special episode.
How many times can we say if you listen to the podcast during the podcast, Aaron?
Wow.
How many times?
I love how this is the first time that I'm aligned with the guest and like harmony, and like you're the nemesis.
So here,
The nemesis.
so here's
Usually it's like Aaron's the foil, you know?
so we mentioned
I'll keep
OU.
'em. Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats OU. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And we mentioned earlier that you were quite the accomplished athlete.
Hey-o.
In a sport.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bail myself out.
I'm
here,
helping
Ray.
you.
Can we-
I'm reinforcing that.
yeah,
it's a
thanks
sport.
by
Pointing out.
pointing out
I
that
actually had forgotten, Darren.
Oh, snap. Sorry.
thanks.
Snap.
This is why he's just the sidekick.
Whoa.
I own it.
Whoa.
I actually can't get mad at that one.
Really? You would allow him?
I defer because look, when something bad happens, the sidekick's second.
So, okay.
Steve's
All right.
getting all the arrows.
I thought
gets
psych-
all the
I
arrows.
thought sidekick was supposed
Wait,
to
so
be
the
one out
pod
front.
is getting arrows? Go on.
No, we actually have two email addresses. We have fanmail at
Stop.
uaoh.net
How many emails has fan mail
and
received?
hate mail at uaoh.net.
How many has the hate mail received?
In case you couldn't listen, the
Just
answers
wait
were
till
So
this
you said,
airs.
Patrick-
dozen.
So for those who maybe didn't pick that up on the microphones, Brian said that we had gotten about 500 fan mail and two hate mail or something reverse
or
like that.
now he's pantomiming switching the numbers around, but we won't report on that either.
No, we
Delighting. That's a great word.
I'm not even sure I used it correctly.
all right. So
Swimming.
Okay.
Do you have a distance? I don't know anything about. I mean, I watch the Olympics. That's all I know about swimming.
Okay.
Stroke and distance.
What's
I don't
the
know.
question?
Like, what's your?
So
thing?
what was your
Oh,
thing?
what was my thing?
Yeah. Is that the right way? Is that?
Sure. Events would
What were your
also
events?
qualify.
Yeah. What was your event?
Well, in high school, this is ironic now that I think about it. Both in high school and in college, my events varied based on the competition in the field for that given year in that event. So in college, when we taper, are you familiar with the concept of tapering? So in swimming, swimming's very hard because it's a hard sport and it's very strenuous on your body.
Right.
And so performing at peak is very difficult when your body is fatigued. And so tapering is when you lay off on the training distance and time so your body's more rested.
I've been doing a lot of tapering.
Oh,
Basically my whole life.
just generally.
Just generally tapering for that one time I'm going to push.
I've been tapering since 40.
Yeah, just waiting for that time I need to really push it.
And so come taper time, you get to wear your speed suits, which are those ones you see when you watch the Olympics. They're very expensive. And then you shave your whole body.
Including your head?
For some men, yeah. But I think for men, they wear caps now more often. But yeah, for women, like you don't shave your legs at all for the entirety of the season until the last meet.
So you get that extra burst of like, hey,
Yeah,
I can really go.
And you notice it. I mean, you physically notice it. So I would taper in college for our conference meet. And I would be put in whatever race they thought I could place highest in. So typically that was the individual medley, which is a race that combines all 4 strokes. So I did both the distances of the IM, and I did that all 4 years. But then my third event was different. The first year I did the mile, which I didn't swim the entire year. But
that's a long one, right?
It's the longest race in college swimming.
So I was a runner.
Okay.
And for runners, you know, the sprinters were sprinters, and then if you were doing in high school, if you were doing a mile or up, that was considered distance. And then both in high school, and I hung out with a couple of runners who were good enough to run in college. The 800 runners were like the crazy people.
Interesting.
Because that's like, it's a sprint.
But it's not.
Yeah. So what's that?
Is this your way of saying, are you crazy?
No, my question. My
It
question.
felt a little bit. It felt a little bit more like a statement.
I'm gonna get there, and this is
okay.
I do think you know me well enough to know nothing is a straight line with me. Everything kind of goes around and winds, unless I'm mad, and then it gets to be a really straight line. But where did you? Were you into that distance level? Were your events
on
more
the scale
distance,
of 1 to
or
crazy?
Were you in that? I'm just so intense on this that I can do that space between distance and sprints that is just the hardest thing out there. Where did you fall? Or is there something like that in
There is
swimming?
definitely something like that in swimming, and there are definitely people that can do races that are in that in between, but probably are better at sprint or distance. I could do it if I had to.
But that wasn't your thing.
It was not my thing. I mean, if you asked me if I trained specifically for a certain event, and if I had really focused my time and energy at that specific event, what would my best event have been? It would have been the 200 IM. But I never was trained that way. I was always trained for distance because every recruiting year, but for my last year, we didn't recruit as heavily in distance, so they needed somebody who could do distance races.
Utility player to do whatever they needed.
Yeah, I mean, in my freshman year, you get 3 individual events and then up to 4 relays. I did 4 relays, and my 3 individual events were the 2 IMs and the mile, which I swam in the first heat, but I got 5th, which is very high because I didn't have anyone to race because I was in the first heat with no time. And then every year after that, it was breaststroke. But I always was in multiple relays and did the 800 free relay, which is the longest of the relays, which is 200 free for every person.
Kind of like a distance. I mean, you say you like the 200, but those are all longer ones. That's just because they needed it?
The 200 IM, in my mind, is not a long race. It is 450s sprint of 4 different strokes.
Oh, you're not doing 200 each. It's 200 total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, my God, I can't imagine.
Well, I couldn't imagine it either. That's why I was freaking out.
So here's the serious element of that discussion. So what do you take from that long distance swimmer mindset, and how do you see that kind of still play out in kind of yourself today? Because I see some of the stuff as having been a long distance runner kind of playing out myself. Is there stuff that you see kind of playing through in who you are today that comes from that, or is that way too deep a question?
I don't think it's too deep.
Is it too shallow?
It's not too shallow either. It's a terrible question. No, I'm just teasing. No, because I mean, I wouldn't see myself as a distance swimmer, even though it was something I could compete in and do well in. I guess if you had to say what are the things that translate from my time as a swimmer to life now, I am still an extremely competitive person. So when you say something to me like, how many listens did Kulowitz get, and are you going to get more?
Yeah.
I immediately go, well, I'll show you. I'm going to get more. So I'm definitely, I'm a very even, level-headed person, but generally speaking, when when somebody tells me I can't do something, there's an inner monologue that'll immediately hit that says, well, I'll show you I can't.
I bet you can't give Steve and I $5 right now.
Oh my God, your face.
Could you shoot a little higher if you're going to go there?
Guys, I have $300,000 in student loan debt, and I'm a millennial. You know I'm not even carrying $10 in cash. You know better.
Unfortunately, the competitiveness cannot overcome reality.
Yeah, you know better. So I would have said that. I would say that when I was in law school, I remembered, and both for child labor, I tried to tell myself, okay, studying for the bar is like tapering, or child labor is like tapering. And so I approached, hypnobirthing classes or my OB appointments as training.
So you mean like giving birth to your child, not like
was like an event that I was preparing for. Not like finding children
to work for you in an illegal child
labor. Of course, absolutely not. I'm very pro-union.
Took me half a second there. I was like, child labor, where's this going? Oh!
Yeah. So a lot of times I think about it in that way.
When you're swimming, do you...
sing in your head a lot? Yes.
I was going to ask, do you think, or do you just kind of...
No, everybody sings. And...
Can you swim with like some sort of underwater music thing?
They exist, but no, I never used one. But it was a gag between one of my college teammates who, before we would start a really long set in practice, he'd intentionally sing a song knowing. So in, what was it, my second year of college, we were doing winter training, and NCAA rules, like when you're in school, there's maximum numbers of hours that you can train or compete, except when you're not in school. And because OU was on quarters, we had this 6-week-long break, which a lot of swim programs will go on training trips and go somewhere warm. They basically just swim 4 or 5 hours a day. It's really, really painful, really physically exhausting. So we're in winter training, and we're just getting ready to start just a stupid, long, unnecessary set where you're not going to have any interaction with people for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. And this sings My Humps right before I push off. So I'm right in front of him. We have like a 10-second gap. And literally I'm like putting my hand up to like put it behind my none of this makes sense to you guys because you're not swimmers. I was getting ready to streamline, push off the wall. And he just goes, what you gonna do with all that junk? Right before I pushed off. And I just looked at him like, oh, and just pushed off and went. I was so pissed. And it was a new song, so I didn't know the lyrics except for my humps, my hump, my hump, my hump. And I sang that sentence in my head it could have been 2 hours. It was awful.
Black Eyed Peas,
awful.
I believe, correct?
No, that was, what's that, Black Eyed Peas, or was that Fergie solo?
It was Black Eyed Peas. Good job, Darren.
Thank you.
At least somebody here gets millennials.
I've been to see the Black Eyed Peas.
I've been to see them.
I did. I saw them in concert. They were wonderful.
Just delightful.
I saw Wyclef at Comic-Con.
You saw what?
Wyclef was at Comic-Con.
That's a better story.
That's all I got. Not cool. I just was dropping the information. Yeah. I'm not trying to establish any credibility or anything. I just wanted to let people know.
The Comic-Con thing.
He had a comic book that he worked on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Artists, man.
I love how like I have the same like equally useless trivia, but I got like some positive feedback, and Steve was like, "Oh, you went to see him in concert, huh?"
I mean, Black Eyed Peas has good music. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
I feel like they also owe us royalties for this show. We thought they're
nobody's
Aoki
listening.
Peas, all their records are going to go.
If Michaela promotes us, who knows?
Are you suggesting that Black Eyed Peas are following me on?
No. Just our
possible. We don't know.
It's true.
You were asking him about running, even though.
Yeah, imagine. So, what did you compete in?
I ran the mile, the 2, and cross country, which was 5K.
So imagine you're running a 2-mile race.
Mm-hmm. On a track is the most boring thing on the planet.
Okay, but imagine doing that.
Kind of like swimming.
And it's not interesting to compete in or watch. But imagine.
But you said you like watching swimming.
I do, because I did it. I'm sure if I didn't swim, Actually, that's not true. There's been some really exciting stuff in Olympic swimming.
Legit.
Yeah.
I will watch swimming in the
Yeah,
Olympics.
but If you were running in that race,
I'm trying to avoid having
to answer this question
so I keep
because then you're
interrupting
going to have to realize that like saying swimming's not hard.
No, I didn't say swimming wasn't hard.
You implied it.
But there's not
super hard.
There's not a like. There's not. You're not. Well, I guess as I think about it, my context.
Steve
was
can't
wrong.
do it that well, so therefore
can't
it's not
swim
a
very
legitimate sport.
No, well, if that was the case, then there would be no sports. Because I can't do any sports very well.
Steve said it, Brian.
Sport. There are no legitimate sports.
But
Steve Shoney.
if you're running, every other step you take, you can't breathe. You have to hold your breath.
Huh?
No, that's
most of the time
swimming.
you're holding your breath.
So I've tried to
Sorry, yeah.
I've tried to lap swim, and there's two things that get to me. One is three things. I've never been trained on technique, so I'm really inefficient.
Check out the Upper Arlington Parks and Rec activity guide for swim lessons
for adults.
You did that really well with leaning into the microphone. That was well done. So it's the boredom. It's the fact that I don't have the skill, the training to be efficient in it, and the breathing. It's
Breathing's
really
very hard.
But the one thing I did like about it is those few times when I figured it out, it's got this very Zen kind of thing to it where you've got to control the breathing. It's like, a mashup of yoga and running because you have to control the breathing. You have to be focused on the breathing. It's all about the breath.
I like the way I feel.
And I can't do yoga either
because
I have no flexibility.
I just don't like being in cold water anymore. I genuinely could not tell you the last time I swam laps.
So then you will be happy in the new community center because we have a single body of water, and I always...
Depends on the temp.
Well,
I might never get in it.
It'll be much warm. We tell all the lap swimmers that you'll swim in it, but it's going to be one body of water, and it will be warmer than you like. So
yes, that's true for lap swimmers. They will not like it, but I'll like it because I'll bring in my squish.
I know.
So do you follow the Olympics? Swimming's one of those things where every 4 years I get totally into it. You know, Michael Phelps or Ledecky or someone else who's coming up big and winning all those.
Don't look around.
No,
you don't know who Katie Ledecky is?
No, I do know who Ledecky was. I was waiting to see if Darren could pull a second swimmer out.
Oh. Aside from Michael Phelps.
I wasn't sure whether he was going to go, Mark Spitz or...
Well, that would have been amazing if he said Mark
Spitz.
Spitz.
Had the fake thing in Brazil. Huh? What was his name again? Ryan Lochte.
Oh, Ryan Lochte, yeah.
So
fake cry.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Anyway, do you get into that and have favorite swimmers or people you idolize growing up, or is it just like...
Growing up, absolutely. The club team that I swam in back home had an Olympic gold medalist in it. So I very much looked up to her.
Do you
trained
like
with her every
other
day.
Sports besides swimming? Because Olympics only comes up every 4 years. Do you watch other stuff?
I like and don't care about all other sports. I can enjoy watching them, but the combination of living in Columbus, Ohio, and growing up a Cleveland sports fan I'm ruined. I just cannot. I can't care anymore. Is
it the intensity?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can get pulled back in, but I have no interest in being pulled back in. But I'm very interested in the social experience. So I will, Browns tailgate, love me a Browns tailgate. Get me up at 4 a.m., Bailey's in the coffee, good time. OSU, love going on campus. But then when the teams lose, everybody's in a bad mood. And I'm like, but I want to keep having a good time.
We're recording this the Monday after the Michigan game. And you are a fine
I don't care.
Human being today.
I know that's sacrilegious, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I think you have got the perfect balance in life.
Oh.
Because you said you can enjoy sports and
I enjoy watching it. The athleticism, the skill, seeing people do. I enjoy it.
But you have none of the downside when they lose.
I'm not emotionally
Your hopes
invested.
are not crushed.
No. But Cleveland can do that to me every now and then. Just pull me back in. And I always hate myself afterwards because I'll start screaming at the TV and I'm like, it's outrageous.
So you will find that it will again tear your heart out and make you just absolutely miserable.
When my kids do it. Yeah.
When your kids do it.
Yeah. It's hard I used to say it's hard to imagine Zasha playing sports because she was always just this very curious, intrinsic child. I don't know, the toddler leap, man, she is not
She's sporty now?
Oh, she's so physical. She's so funny.
All right, we finish every podcast with 2 questions.
Okay.
Which you would know if you listened. I had to.
It was nice. It was nice. Okay.
What do you love about UA?
Okay.
What would you change?
Oh, and the rules are off. You can answer anything you want.
The rules are off.
There are no rules.
I was going to say that's not a thing for people in my position. But the thing I love the most is definitely the culture around giving. You know, it's beautifully civic minded and community centered living in UA. I don't believe that kind of culture exists in a lot of other places. You know, if we've been sick, we don't ask, and there's tons of people that want to offer help or leave food on the porch. And we do the same thing for other people. You know, if there's something going on with the schools, and let's say there's a kid that can't afford something, you know, they just have something on the website portal where you can give, and people do. And it's just, that is who we are as a community. That it's the story I don't think gets told enough. There's a lot of, I would say, misconceptions about, and some accuracies, but I would say overwhelmingly a misconception about the people living in Upper Arlington and how they take care of each other. It's so neighborly. I find that to be, you know, like the value of the dollar of your home, which is the thing I would change. I mean, it's great to have such prosperity, but, you know, we bought our condo as a starter. That's me hitting the chair. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I can't sit still. I can't sit still.
Thank you for covering for me.
Yeah, I can't sit still.
I'm about to get kicked off for that.
It is hard to look. So my husband and I, we're passively looking at our next house. And when you see a $1,200 square foot house that needs updates going on the market for over $400,000, nearly $500,000, and that same price, like total home value, is a 3,000 square foot house in Dublin. It's hard to conceptualize like why you would pay that much for a house. So I mean, if there's anything I could change, I would say, you know, comprehensively, there's got to be something we can do that would create modern housing stock, but with enough variation that anybody could live here and access it. Because even people who live here now struggle to access it and stay here. That's very hard. We are, when right after Zasha was born, when we started looking at new places, Patrick and I were walking around the block and we're like, how the hell do we justify buying another house in Upper Arlington? It's really hard to justify it. And he was like, we found our people here. You know, this is an amazing place to live. We love the people here. And how could we leave our community? We're really invested in the people. So that's it, I guess.
And that's, you know, it is probably the hardest thing that we as a community are going to face. It's the hardest thing that we as a region are going to face.
Oh, yeah. I saw the article in the Dispatch today, by the way. Good job.
Thank you. But, you know, it's something, and we had, I was really pleased and intrigued by the presentation that Michael Wilkos gave at our, what was that, November 21st council meeting. I'm giving that for the 5 people that listen that maybe didn't watch.
And then are then going to go listen now.
Are going to go back and pull up Michael's presentation. But it really was very insightful in terms of how do we think about the future in an environment where we have a very successful region, we have a community that is positioned in a very attractive physical place, the place itself is attractive, that's going to put a lot of demand side pressure, and there's not a lot of room to create more supply.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, you know, how do we continue to be a community where families can come here before they have kids and be part of the community through that entirety of their life cycle if they choose to.
Yeah.
And
I mean, wages are not keeping up with property value here in UA.
Right.
And my husband and I our household earns more than the average household in UA. And we cannot afford the average housing price in UA. Everybody here is stretched beyond their means. It's a generalization, but one I think I can make fairly with those numbers. But yeah, if you asked me, oh God, I'm about to talk about policy. Is this okay?
No, that's why I said the rules
This is
are
why
off.
the rules are
Oh,
off.
that rule. Okay.
Oh,
That
shoot.
ru-
What rule did you think I was talking about?
I have no idea.
Yeah, policy rules now.
I have
off
no
limits.
idea.
Clearly, the language rule was out.
I was going to say,
So
I did swear a lot
So
at a certain portion.
For our listeners, one of the things, I think I said this when we did the podcast with John, one of the things we've said to the council members is we don't want to talk about policy at all, except I don't think you can talk about what do I love and what would I change
without being able
having
to.
some policy implications.
I would agree with that. Yeah, housing it's the biggest, most complex, most challenging problem of there's no way before my first term on council is over we'll have figured it out.
Oh, no.
There's no way.
So, and look, housing is one of those ones where there has been a housing crunch of some sort since our ancestors decided to move off of the plains and into the caves. Right? There's been a housing shortage of some form or another through human history.
Is that true, Darren?
I'd like to see some verification
Is
of
that
that.
But no, I mean it actually.
Sources?
What's the Homo sapiens? The book. I can't remember who wrote it.
Oh, actually, the book.
Okay.
I was like, the source is people? Okay.
No. Since that time, this has been a challenge, and it doesn't mean you don't continue to work the challenge and try and figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge we're going to face. At some level, you either have this challenge or you have the challenge that Youngstown faces, which is the opposite side of the coin, where you have depopulation. And
I love how you're just creating a new rivalry. If Youngstown's listening, they're like, oh, overall, you're talking about us.
I work for somebody who works for
See,
Youngstown.
the
so-
rivalry is starting. I like Youngstown,
But I'm familiar
Steve.
with I love Youngstown. I love
Youngstown's
the
a
people
great
of
place.
Youngstown.
It is shrinking,
But
though.
he's right about the housing problem. They literally can't sell houses there. Whereas here, God, what was it? Trying to think back in.
So
I had to think about what month it was. But in the spring, you would go to an open house and you're walking in and they're like, oh, somebody accepted the offer and it's their first day of showing.
So when I
They've
took over the city land bank for the city of Columbus in 2013, we had about 900 properties in the city land bank, which is vacant and abandoned properties. I haven't looked. My guess is they're down around 100. That's the worst of the worst properties in Columbus. So anyway.
Great note to end on.
That's super. Well, it is a happy note because the community is turning around, but that comes with challenges.
Yeah.
Everything's got challenges.
Very complex, very unintended consequences for any well-intended decision.
Yep.
The plight of governing. Am I right, guys?
That is why we get paid.
The not so big
Government bucks.
Government bucks. So
Y'all are paid well.
we are.
Hey, we're not complaining.
No,
I know.
we're not.
I was about to say.
We look.
When's your reviews?
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't say the thing we need to change is the city attorney and the city
Your
manager.
staff.
which
Your
is
staff salaries.
We're 22 episodes in.
No one has said it yet.
No one has said it
But
yet.
this one in particular, I'm particularly glad she didn't say it because she could actually do
I was
something
really
about
glad your dad didn't say it. That was the
it. That
one
was actually
would've-
from my heart. That's probably number one.
That was the one. But
our boss,
you
number
and,
two.
You and Kulowitz, neither of you saying that you think we need to change. That's
What was Kulowitz's change?
it had.
Did it involve pools?
It did. It was his desire to see us be able to
Provide
definitively
swim
say
lessons?
that every kid under the age of 5 in UA knows how to swim.
Yeah, that's consistent.
Listen, thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for
I have
accommodating me on such short
particularly
notice.
enjoyed this episode.
You've enjoyed me like fun. It's a Monday. We're never recording on a Monday again because I went completely into that whole dark place very early on, and I shouldn't.
Why
normally
would that
do
be a Monday thing for you?
Fridays? I'm usually like the happy-go-lucky.
He's a
one.
loose, happy guy.
Fridays.
You were pretty loose and happy today until
Yeah,
you started.
Friday
started getting,
Steve.
some bombs thrown at you.
I don't know.
Listen, Steve reminds me of my older brother, so it's very easy for me to get into that habit of like dark humor, poke the bear with him. That is the dynamic of our family. It's very savage, very
I think it's the
mean.
German. It might be some of the German thing.
Not all of my siblings are German.
But so I'm used to that going.
Oh, I see. The directness, the bluntness. We were at a Halloween party once, and Patrick and I were in our outfits from Oktoberfest because we didn't have anything else, and so we just put them on and went to a Halloween party. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good costume.
Yeah. So there was somebody there who was actually German, and starts talking to Patrick about his outfit, and then the guy says to him, "So the mustache, is that for Halloween?" And Patrick goes, "No, I kind of like it. I'm thinking about growing it." And the German just goes, "You should get rid of it. It looks horrible."
That's awesome.
And Patrick laughed. And he was just like, my wife has been trying to tell me for years, like, because my husband is from Southern Ohio, and it's a very, go along, get along. They do not speak in direct terms in that way. And even I've run into that with, like residents sometimes, where just having a very direct form of communication is, "Oh, well, you're being rude." And it's, well, I'm just communicating. To me, it's love. You would want me to tell you that your mustache looks
It's
like...
It's respecting you enough to be direct.
Yes. Like, Patrick, it's not a good look. So you should get rid of it. Like, to me, that's love.
They were that way with me about my hair around here about 2 weeks ago, where they just said, no,
it's not working.
No, it needed to change.
Yeah, that's
I've
love.
Just given up.
I mean, if people aren't on your hair.
Yeah, I'm not even trying.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Now, see, you have some not directness. I'm cool with that. All right, very good.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Patrick, shave your face. Love
So, actually, speaking of shaving faces, if people around here want to contribute to a good cause, the city does have our Movember fundraiser to raise money for cancer. And I have committed that if the team raises $2,000 over what they raised last year, I will shave. And for every $1,000 over that, I will leave it off for a week.
Like your whole head?
Like, no, just my face.
Whoa, wait a minute.
No.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How high before the head goes?
My kids have never seen and I have a soon-to-be 19-year-old, have never seen me without a beard.
Aww.
So.
I mean, that's great. And I was all on board, but you have a good idea. What about shaving your head?
No, I'm not shaving my head. No.
It's for the kids.
No.
Boring.
No.
It's for the kids.
Not shaving my head.
It's for cancer,
I don't care.
He doesn't care about cancer. Did you hear that?
That's kind of what I heard.
I have a slight degree. I'm slightly vain, and it stops at the hair.
Oh, I see. It's the hair that...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm on team. I'm not Steve right now.
Nope.
I'm on team cure for cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about you.
I will shave my beard and my head for cancer.
Wow.
Sorry.
Might do it not for cancer. Might just do it. Who knows?
Sorry.
Val.
Not ashamed.
The kids, Steve.
I don't care.
The children.
Kids. Not caring.
The audacity.
I don't care.
Well, at least you're firm in your beliefs.
I am.
Brian, can this whole segment be edited out so they don't come with pitchforks for the city manager?
Steve.
My gosh.
I've set a limit. It's the hair.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, can you come with something positive to end with, Steve?
I'll tell you what. If they raise $32,000, if they double what they raised last year, which they do
just
amazing
pick a number
job.
they can't do.
They do an amazing job. They raised $16,000 last year. 1 year they got up to $22,000.
See, the competitive person in me would hear that, know the stakes, and be like, "I'll show you."
I think you should pick 50 just in case.
No, I'm 32. I'll shave my head.
Boom! Positive note.
Wow!
It's been written.
Wow! I want to see that line in every email that promotes this podcast.
Steve makes a bold
Steve
promise.
Shoney to shave head. 32,000 raised for cancer.
Nope.
Foul.
You just agreed to it.
I didn't agree to the promotion.
You want to help cancer but not tell anybody.
Wait. So is this a test of, like, who do I have to talk to? Emma? Brian?
Emma won't talk about the podcast because
She begrudgingly likes it. I think Brian can get this out. I have email access.
All right.
Nobody listens, much less reads. And besides, we're like an
But
hour
that's
and
how
15 minutes into this podcast.
But
No
this
one's heard
is
this
how
promise.
I know who all your guests have been, is because I read the city emails. So I'm counting on no one listening to this. That's why I need it in the blurb.
I would put it at least in. You want it in the blurb?
No,
like,
You know
it's
what I
not going
mean?
in the
Like
blurb.
I was
under
thinking internal email.
No, it's not.
that
going in the
too.
blurb. No.
Listen,
No.
I have access. I have no
We could go-
problem
we could go
sending
to
a
we could go to
city
the
all
internal.
email.
Yeah, I don't mind it going to
When
the
we go to when Brian and I get our show at 4 a.m., we can talk about it on that on Sunny 95.
Sunny
You can shave his head live on air.
Oh,
Yes!
live on air. Oh, it's getting huge.
Wow.
So I have said that if they raise enough money, we'll have some kind of a system.
How many?
to
They
figure-
only have 3 more days?
No.
When's it go
It goes through January.
Oh my
So
god.
I have said that we're going to figure out a way to determine who gets to decide in what phases we shave the beard, because there's a lot of fun to be had in that. So one phase I know is going to be the firefighter mustache, which is the mustache that comes down to, just
Okay.
on the sides down here. Whether I do chops at some level or
Yes.
chops.
but
Just yes.
you can't do chops and the thin beard because
Oh no, you got to do one or the other.
you got to do one or the other. But I'll let somebody figure out.
When we get that 32,000, I'm thinking mohawk.
I love that for you.
I would not look good bald.
That's not the point.
Now the point is, you would look horrible bald.
Yes.
That's why we want to raise the money. Oh, and helping a good.
It's for the children.
and
dear.
I don't. Yeah, to be bald on the face and on the head at the same time. That's just.
How
Yeah.
much to throw
Yeah.
in the eyebrows? Can we get 50?
That's 100.
It's 100,000.
Wow, your eyebrows are not worth that much.
Well, that might that might just be buying me the right kind of bourbon, and then you might have multiple options in terms of how to get
That's
the
the next
eyebrows.
staff retreat in Athens.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed most of this episode, but the end has been particularly eliminating for
We
me.
close strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. All right.
Sorry it dragged though.
No,
Kept
that's
you
all
Did
right.
longer.
not drag. We got some
Okay.
concessions from Steve.
All right. Get those things off my ears.
You don't say anything else. You just take off your.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's very anticlimactic.
See you next week.
Thank you, Michaela, for coming on. This was a great podcast. Thanks for being on. We did it earlier. We closed out earlier.
Oh,